much for the invitation. So our campaign started with a simple question, which you've heard already this morning. Who will provide the care for my daughter when my wife and I are no longer able to? It's a simple question. Unfortunately, many parents like myself and all those here would often hope that our children would go before us. That's how bad the situation is. Over 2,000 adults with an intellectual disability live with parents aged 70 or older. 500 of those parents are over 80, with some providing full-time care into their 90s. That's the world we live in. 98% of families we surveyed, and that was 1,000 we surveyed, have no formal written transition plan for their son or daughter for future housing. Only 19% of adults with ID are currently registered with a local authority. So you can see, really, the government, the state, have no idea who's out there. While the government's Disability Action Plan 2024 to 26 targeted 900 new places, only 389 have been funded, leaving a deficit of over 500 places. In the current budget, 178 of the 250 funded places were for emergency cases, meaning a residential place is typically provided when the parents die. The emergency model is described as cruel and heartless and is the most expensive way of providing care. It involves putting a care package out to tender to a private for-profit company. When a crisis occurs, the adult with ID is often moved to an isolated house in a rural area. This can cause them to lose contact with their mother or father, their families, their social circle, their community, and most importantly, their day service. This could create conditions for neglect. And as we know from our history, neglect, and you know what that can lead to. Section 38 and 39 service providers are unable to compete with the private companies because they lack multi-annual funding. And the CAS funding model is not suitable to meet their needs. The social housing application process is not fit for purpose and does not address the needs of most people with ID. There is no single point of information for parents. There is also no standardised workflow for the application process. For example, when an application is made to a local authority, there is no system to link that application to an appropriate service or to the HSE. So it sits in the local authority forever. The HSE has no information on the identity or the level of support of those who have applied. Neither the Department of Housing or Disability nor the HSE take responsibility for funding and planning. That is why we have parents in their 80s providing full-time care. We are calling for a new agency or authority, a one-stop shop, which will be mandated to process and manage applications linking with the Departments of Housing and Disability, local authorities, the HSE, Section 38 and 39 service providers, and most importantly, with families. So together with a new application agency, the government must commit to increasing and ring-fencing funding to address this crisis. Ring-fencing is very important. An emergency funded plan must be put in place in the next budget to address the needs of parents in their 70s and 80s who cannot wait for systemic change. I wish to highlight a legal contradiction between the Capacity Act, which presumes all people have full capacity, and a letter recently sent by the HSE to a mother of an adult with ID. This letter asserted that she had a legal obligation to financially support and provide accommodation indefinitely. There's no other parent in the country who gets that letter except parents of people with an ID. No other parents would get that letter. The HSE has not withdrawn the letter. They were here on this committee. They wouldn't withdraw it. And they haven't clarified what law they're citing. That letter still stands. So it appears that parents have a legal responsibility, but under the terms of the Capacity Act, we have absolutely no role in advocating for our adult children with ID. The Act is unworkable for the thousands of adults with moderate to severe ID. It is causing untold problems and stress for many parents. And as you can imagine, we have enough stress in our lives without dealing with that. We ask you to provide leadership and courage to address this issue. I urge you to respect the rights and dignity of my daughter, our daughters, our sons, and the thousands like her. Housing for adults with ID can no longer be left as an afterthought. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tony, and thanks to everybody who presented there, some powerful presentations. So now I want to invite the members to speak. There is a rota in place. When I call you to speak, you adhere to the agenda items. Each person has 7 minutes.